onto the Storm. This is what there's a tiny moment. It means nothing, and I'm sure people go, you see that all the time, but it still is a little moment that I enjoyed personally, just my opinion. So Katoa gets up, says, yep, I knocked it on towards the end of the game. Like, how often do we see forwards where it's a 50-50 call, and to like save grace, they go, yeah, challenge. And like, he immediately got up when I think Munster ran over, or one of the boys ran over, and they were about to challenge, and he was like, no, I knocked it on. Like, just little moments like that just show you a level of accountability that these Storm players usually play with. Like, I'm trying to think, and I'm sure there'll be some howlers that have happened throughout the year, but Storm actually are one of the teams where you don't see as many howlers with the challenges. If I'm remembering correctly, I'm sure there have been some at times, but it's just an example of accountability. And like, if you've dropped a ball, don't try to save face by, oh yeah, challenge, it was a rag or whatever.
That comes back, Kempy, to Craig Bellamy.
Yeah.
If you challenge a shit one and give it away, you wouldn't be able to look Craig Bellamy in the eyes when you go back in the sheds because he'd tear you to shreds.
Yeah, he'd be like, you just wasted a challenge for us. To go back to the Roosters, not a single Rooster was in the top 5 VB hard earned in a prelim. That's crazy. Munster was second.
Jeez.
Munster was second, the Mad Dog. But yeah, I really like that. Funny, I wrote this in my notes as well. So in the second half, I wrote Storm in the second half just running a bit sideways. They need to straight it up. Literally 2 seconds later, Munster turns Howarth under, gets a quick play of the ball. Grant, Hughes and Pappy go to work. They straighten all the attack and they score with that drop under Pappy. And it's just their ability. Once they get that quick play of the ball, you're done.
Everything's meticulous.
You're done. And also their ability to identify, they're like bees to honey. Like that quick play of the ball happens and they almost all just come in close like that and just move with the ruck. How often do you see a play the ball happen? And Cronulla actually are guilty of this sometimes. They've gotten a bit better at it, but they'll get a quick play of the ball and they'll just stick to their system. They'll just stay back. Pass. And it's just like a waste of a ruck. The Storm, as soon as it happens, they just boom, all like that, and then just through the ruck.
Yeah, they just flood the middle.
It's crazy.
Bees to honey is a good way of putting it because you're right. Harry Grant, he does that one-handed scoop up. They're rolling, and either side of him, Cam Munster, Jerome Hughes, they just flock straight in behind him. I was watching that game just going, I don't think there's a team in the competition that just capitalise on half chances more than the Storm.
So good at it. Every
time they create half an opportunity, they just nail it and turn it into points.
Yeah. And I think it's just the fact that Bellamy expects them, if you are on the field, you are engaged in the game. Whereas there are other coaches that, we always talk about standards and cultures, but that's what we're talking about. We're talking about coaches. Some coaches, if a player concentration lapses, there's no blow up, there's no accountability. They might be a star player, so the coach is like, oh yeah, I'll let it go. Bellyache is like, no, when you're on the field, you have a job every second of every minute of the game. And that's why I think they always capitalise, because they're always switched on.
And there's two parts to it. Firstly, their support play is unbelievable. Like, they have blokes that just queue up for tries whenever they go through. But when they create half an opportunity, when you're 1, 6, 7 and 9 are absolute world class, when they get half an opportunity, they get it right. Yeah. Because they are better than near enough everyone else in the position in the world.
How crazy is it? We've seen so much evidence now of put your money into your spine, and there's still clubs that will spend overs on a centre or a winger. Like, if I was running a club now, like, I would just... And look, granted, it's a market. Sometimes there's literally just no sevens on the market, and you're like, well, I've got to spend my salary cap each year. But I do think there are still some clubs that just like... They just don't follow that rule of like spend it on your spine.
Bellamy's lent into it for 20 years.
The whole time he's been around. And what's so incredible about Bellamy as well is that this spine, aside from Pappy, couldn't be more different to their old spine. Like Pappy and Billy Slater are kind of similar players. Cam Smith and Harry Grant are literally opposite ends of the spectrum. Like a running dummy half that's like just out of the gate, super explosive. And then you've got probably the smartest rugby league player of all time that's just all in between the years. And yet Bellyache's managed to make it work. At Hughes and Cronk.
I think that's the best example.
They are so different, it's crazy.
Yeah, he was 20 years ago, he's sitting there, Matt Orford leaves, he goes to the Seagulls, he needs to find someone to replace him. he gets a utility in Cooper Cronk and turns him into, people say a robotic halfback. Like as a criticism, I think it's the ultimate fucking compliment you could find.
Discipline.
20 years later, Cronk leaves and he goes, okay, who's this fullback that's been a fringe first grader? I'll turn him into a halfback, but not in the same way. I'll let him be his own footballer and we'll work around him.
And that's something that Bellyache is, we have had him on the captain's runner. I think it's like not the start of this year. I think it was the start of this year, or start of one of the years. And I asked him the question along the lines of, this roster and, the fact that they hadn't really made a bit of a dent in the final series and kind of like where they're at and how they can improve. And his response was, my focus every year is to get the best out of the current roster that I have and work with what I've got in this roster.
Yeah.
And it's just such an interesting insight where like so many clubs, they are looking at a player and going, I need you to be Cooper Cronk because Cooper Cronk was the best 7 of this generation. So I'm going to try and do that. Or I need you to be Cameron Smith. And he doesn't do that.
You know what I love about Bellamy too? And, he doesn't get too many wrong, but when he does get one wrong, he identifies it straight away. And he did that with Brodie Croft.
Yeah,
and straight away went, got that wrong. Let's change. I need Hughesy. Yeah. And you would have gone, like I remember at the time going, fuck, I don't know about that. Like, I don't even know what position Hughes is. Yeah. Halfback's a lot to ask for. But he straight away went, I got it wrong. I need to sort this out. And look at how it's played out.
Yep. Another real quick one. What about one of the GOAT calls? Harry Grant retracts a captain call just because he goes, you know what? I didn't see it. It doesn't, like there's so much pressure on him, like captain's challenge, sorry, and he retracted it. Like, what a fucking call.
And that is the moment where you look and you go, okay, I see why he's captain.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's easy to say now because he's done so well, but at the start of the season, I'm not going to lie, I love Harry Grant more than anyone, but I looked at it and went, geez, with Hughes and Munster in the squad, that's a big call to make him in.
I was worried it would weigh him down because he's such a free-flowing player. I didn't want him thinking about that shit. I just wanted him going 100 miles an hour. And geez, hasn't he turned into a captain?
He mesmerises me more and more every time he plays. And this final series has just elevated that as well. And I sort of sit down again. I look at the Storm pack and I go, it's very good. But we're talking about a team that dominated the minor premiership. They've dominated their way through finals so far. And their middles against that Roosters pack, they just destroyed him. I'm like, it's just all off the back of Harry Grant. And like we know what him and Smithy as well did so well. Like they engage markers, they get them on the front foot, but they're not just like matching other middles, they're destroying other packs. And it's all off the back of the brilliance of Harry Grant. And I'd love to hear Smithy's like deep dive into Harry Grant and the way that he gets this pack moving forward, because I'm still trying to work out how he just does it so effectively.
Picks his moment perfectly every time. Actually, Matty, could you get up? Do you have time? Or yep. Could you get up their 2020 squad? And let's have a look at it on paper compared to this squad, because their bench, like, I think we're going to be quite amazed at on paper. We always talk about on paper, like how far this team has got compared to what they've had in the past.
While Matty's looking for that, it is an interesting talking point, as you said, when we're talking about masterful, what he did with the Tigers. Like, was that season Harry Grant arrived there?
Yeah.
Was their starting hooker?
True.
Well, and they finished 9th.
Yep. He played
in his first year in the
15
NRL.
games that season.
So technically Harry Grant's a junior, isn't he? Or wasn't he? You know what? Didn't he? Junior for the Tigers.
We're alone.
Didn't he nearly get a Dally M that year and then he got injured or something? He was like leading the Dally
He
M.
got very, man, he fucking killed it that season. He came in and blew it away.
Yeah, I think he was like winning the Dally M's. He got injured or something.
Come home, Harry. Unfinished business.
Tigers Junior.
Yeah.
Do you want the whole teams or just the bench?
Let's read the whole team out. 2020.
Okay, 2020, we got Pappenhausen, Vunivalu, Brenko Lee, Justin Olam, Adokar, Munster, Hughes. Front rowers, Bromwich, Christian Welsh, hooker, Cam Smith. Back row, Felice Kafusi, Kenny Bromwich, Locke Nelson. The bench, Brandon Smith, Tino, Finucane, Nico Hines.
Oh my goodness.
Now read the bench out. That will probably be the bench that was on the
bench from the Roosters game, Wishart, Welsh, Kamakamika, Alec McDonald.
Like, respectfully, on paper, that is like seriously difference. Now, and this is, I'm saying this as a credit to this current roster of what they've managed to achieve. That's like, it has just been nothing short of incredible how dominant they've been. What an amazing season for them.
Can I just to clarify too, Madge arrived to the Tigers in 19, Harry arrived in 20.
So
it wasn't the year Madge arrived.
Okay.
But just have a look at these numbers. Like, sorry, just get back to this. Like the Tigers, they finished 9th in 2018 with Ivan Cleary, handed it over to Madge. They finished 9th again, then they finished 11th, and they finished 13th.
So they finished 9th in 2019?
Yep, under Michael Maguire, but they also finished 9th the year before that with Ivan Cleary. And 2 years before that with Jason Taylor too.
Yep. Anyway, okay, back to the game.
So many great memories.
You know what's funny is like that used to be the old meme of like 9th, and like now I'm sure Tigers fans are going.
I'd kill for 9th.
Yeah, we would literally kill for 9th.
Yep.
Holy shit. Yeah, in regards to performances, I mean, there were so many across the board, but I just want to give a shout out to guys like Sean Bloor that came to the club. I'm sorry, from the West Tigers. Couldn't get a start at the West Tigers, took a punt, went down to Melbourne Storm, and it is actually the second year in a row that a player has left the Tigers and gone to a grand final. Apologies, Damien. But I just want to, as I said, like guys like, you know, Ugana the year before, Bloor this year. Like Bloor wasn't even in the starting side this year. He had to work his way in. He fought tooth and nail. He made some sacrifices. I'm sure he took a pay cut, and now he's in a grand final. And the same with Eli Katoa. I know it's been his second year there, but he's another guy that a lot of potential, was at the Warriors, didn't seem to like, they were willing to let him go. Now he finds himself in a grand final. And it's just a really good example of sometimes you need to take a step back to take a couple steps forward. And I'm just so happy for those boys. Josh King's another one. Nick Meaney's another one. Like all these boys at clubs that were going worse, that, you know, they were okay with letting go these boys. And now they find themselves in a grand final, all through hard work.
Yeah, it's Craig Bellamy 101. I thought a huge moment in this one. I think people talked about it for the wrong reason. Obviously, Alec McDonald, there was a knock on in that play the ball, in that knockback. It went back to play the ball. I looked at that moment though, and I cannot believe Angus Crichton tried to tap that ball back. I thought that was just the split in the mindsets of these two sides. There is not a hope in hell, in my opinion, in that situation. A Melbourne player tries to tap it back. Just grab the ball with two hands and you wrap it up.
Yeah. Had an off night, the big fella, unfortunately. He's been so good all year, Angus Crichton.
It's his first off game
in a while.
this entire season.
Yeah. Yep. Just and look, the thing is really across the board, everyone had an off game. Like even the big fella, JWH, I thought he had a bit of a poor game, gave away quite a few penalties. Just didn't seem to work for him that night. Really, for me, probably their best player was Suoliti, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I loved his fight, and I thought Tupou was okay too. But I just love Suoliti's fight. I love the fact that he doesn't get enough credit for a lot of the tough stuff that he does, and he gets involved in when the game's not going his way, he will go and do the tough stuff, it's a big loss for him. I wish he was still in league for sure.
Jeez, we're gonna miss Suoliti.
Yeah. I reckon I can't wait to see Nwanga Nitawase though. Like he looks the goods, the big fella.
He'll be back though.
Suoliti will be back for sure. Look, in saying that, getting paid $1 million to travel Europe or something like that, like if you go play for a European club, don't get me wrong, it's still a crazy hard game. But geez, that's a pretty good bloody lifestyle.
It's interesting with Mark next year. Like surely one of him or Dom Young, and I don't think it's Dom Young or Tupou obviously, but one of them sort of has to turn into a centre, don't they?
Yeah. I probably have more faith in Nwanga Nitawase.
So do I. I think he will be a centre. Yeah.
Dom Young, he's just got to find a way to have multiple ways to damage teams. And what I mean by that is in contact sometimes, if he's losing the battle, he doesn't change the way he does his hit-ups, if you know what I mean. For example, a guy like Tupou, if he's getting dominated in a certain way, whether people are chopping him low or whatever, like he'll kind of change his body shape or use different ways to make his meters. Whereas I do feel like if Dom Young's getting dominated, he doesn't have it in his game to change it up a bit, the way he runs the ball.
That's what I was saying before. Like, I think he just sort of waits for the game to come to him a bit. And the beauty of playing on the end of the backline at the Sydney Roosters is you get opportunities and you can wait for it more often than not. But when it comes to, you've been dominated in 2 finals games and he just sort of sat out there on the wing, and you're right, like with what he offers, he just needs to be able to inject himself a little bit more. And I would prefer Nwanga Nitawase probably at centre than Dom Young, just because defensively with his reads, I'm not confident with Dom Young. I haven't seen enough of Nwanga Nitawase play, but has he spent time at centre or anything? Do we know in union, or has he always been on the wing?
I looked at those reads in defence in his first game in NRL, and they were pretty bloody good. There was only one that he made a mistake, and any winger could. I just think with Dom Young, he's still so green. Just for me, I don't know. He actually, the first half of his year, Dom Young was outstanding. He just needed to find other ways to get himself involved in the game to have an impact, because he's the kind of winger that you can't afford him sitting out there waiting for the ball. He's too good to do that. He'll get there. He'll get there, Dom Young.
In answer to your question, though, I don't know positions he played in union or not, but I remember my first thought after watching his highlights was centre.
Yeah, okay.
I reckon that's where
He played. I could be wrong, but I swear I saw him playing a bit of fullback. I probably am wrong, but yeah, I really liked his movements in defence in his first game. I thought he looked really level-headed. But yeah, Dom Young will get there for sure. It's his first year in the Roosters system. I think he'll get there, and he had some really good games this year as well. But back to the Storm. Shout out Josh King. I tell you what a game. To go up against that Roosters pack and just go, I'm going all day. Like, you might win that first 10 minutes, but I am going all day long. And what a genius move. Like, even Bellamy goes, okay, I had him at 13, didn't really work. I need a guy like Lioro that's a little bit more lateral, a little bit more mobile. So King goes into the front row. He's found his spot. What a bloody player.
He's developed a cheeky little offload on him.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like, he's gone the last 3 seasons, 13 this year, 11, 14. Before that, like, single digits, pretty ordinary, not ordinary, but just wasn't his game. But just hitting the line, that little hit and spin, and because he's got Harry Grant, who's always in support and always looking for opportunities, nice little combination coming on there.
The other one I want to give a rap to, and I know we mentioned him in Team of the Week, mate, but I thought Jack Howarth was outstanding in this game. For him to come into a prelim final and have to mark Joey Manu, and as you said, like, Manu was reasonably quiet until the 50th minute when he had to, when he started to roam and everything. I think you got to give Jack Howarth credit for that.
What a player.
We keep saying on paper it was one of the great mismatches.
Yep.
Howarth, like, just didn't miss a beat with him.
What a player, though. Like, this is a rookie playing out of position, maybe centre his position. He's been so good. His strength in contact is crazy. And also, like, for him to hit that footwork on Dom Young and then gas him, like, that's for a big, like, he can play back row.
Yep.
And he just put that move on Dom Young and outside back. Like, I thought he was going to get caught for all money. I think we're scratching the surface with him. Like, when he becomes a target for them to hit, like, at the moment, he's still the rookie that is supposed to just do his job. Wait till we head into next year where they're going, we're going to set up plays for him to get. We're going to make sure that he's got room, he's got space. What a player. He is special, that kid.
I'll tell you what, for you guys in Origin too, and he's probably a few years away, but...
Oh, he's a Kiwi.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, I think he's a Kiwi, yeah.
Oh, fuck, how good is their team looking? He's a perfect...
Can you confirm that? I think he's a Kiwi, though.
Jersey 17, couldn't get any better. If you're not going to have him starting in the centres, which, there's every chance he could be, but just to have him, like, you can chuck him in the back row. He's big enough to handle anywhere.
But he is... Like, I cannot wait to see his career develop. Like, this is his strength in contact now and his footwork now. Imagine when he gets his man strength at like 24, 25 years old.
Mate, he might just jump straight into Joey Manu's Kiwi jersey.
What do you got there, Matty?
Played Queensland under-19s 2 years ago, but I'm still looking.
Does it say where he's born on his wiki?
Yes. He was born in Mackay, Queensland.
So, he's not a Kiwi? What the hell? I thought he was a Kiwi for... Okay, I take all that back. There is someone that's a Kiwi that surprised the shit out of me.
Warbrick?
Nah, definitely new. Māori. Yeah.
He's played for the Maoris.
Yeah, the Māoris.
Maoris. So that's why.
Yeah, so he's Kiwi.
So he's Kiwi. Not sure about his eligibility.
He played for the Māoris literally this year.
Oh, he is New Zealand. He was part of the New Zealand Kiwi A squad.
Yeah, okay.
Man,
That's
their
so
side
confusing.
is building nicely, the
Mate,
Kiwis.
the Kiwis, it's really the first time in a long time where you're going, this is on paper as good across the board. Not just like, oh, great fullback, across the board.
Yeah.
You've got a guy like Hughes that's about to win a Dally M as 7. The only thing is they've got a bunch of injuries at 9. And they're talking Phoenix Crossland will get there. But we'll get to that. Anything else in regards to Storm?
No, he was just to echo your point on how I think it was great. Speaking, about players that can find different ways to impact the game. He was just he was elite. Not obviously had the try, but 175 metres and 55 of them post contact. So strong. He had an outstanding game. Such a great player.
Yeah, 14 runs, 175 metres, 55 post contact, 5 tackle breaks, 8 tackles, only 2 misses. And what's scary is Coates and Warbrick, like, they didn't really have that much to do. Like they took tough carries and played well, but usually you expect, okay, one of them's going to have 200 meters or whatever. But yeah, amazing stuff. Obviously, we've spoken about Pappenhausen. Nelson with his offloads, I've really felt that after that first 10 minutes, he changed it. Trent Lioro, I want to give him a shout out. 14 runs, 137 metres, 54 post contact, 27 tackles, 0 misses. He's just doing a job for him. Like, you watch the game, and he's so unassuming. Like, you watch it, and you almost, at times, don't even know that he's like on the field at times. And then you go look at the stat book, the stat book, and he's made like 40 tackles, only missed one, and ran for 200 metres. Like, he really does get through just the shit work. Like, all the tough stuff that you want to get through, he gets through it.
What do you think Melbourne are going to do this week? Let's assume Nass is out. Do they go with the old veteran Christian Walsh to start? Do you go with Tui? What do you reckon they'll do there?
Probably start Kamikamitha, I reckon.
Kamikamitha. And then what, do you bring Valipu into the side? The closest like for like you can find, or...
Yeah, it's a tough
one.
one.
A lot of pressure, early
for a
days.
rookie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was the middle forward that they played a few weeks ago that I think he came from Penrith?
Yeah. I'm not sure, to be honest. Do you move do you put Wishart at 13 and move Trent into the middle maybe?
I think you're probably looking a bit small there against the Penrith pack if you do that.
Yeah. Alec McDonald is he...
I mean, the thing about it, obviously we'll see what happens team-wise, but Christian Welch, if that game was tied, he might not have got on. He came on for the last 8 minutes of the game or something because the game was done. So Tui probably starts. Christian Welch plays a bigger minute role off the back of it. It obviously, begs the question, who now becomes the 17th man. Yeah. But I think that probably writes itself. And then you've got the 17th man who might not necessarily play many minutes at all.
Yeah.
He's played 27 minutes in their last 2 games, Christian Walsh. Played 60 the week before that, to be fair.
I wonder whether it's being saved, because both games haven't needed him to come on. So Bellyache's look, no point bashing him.
Yep.
But we'll see. Incredible win from the Storm.